What is up, everybody? Welcome on into another show. Welcome into another stream. It is Thursday, January 23rd, and I am still reeling. From the news yesterday that Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Strange will not be in Avengers Doomsday. What the? Sorry, I gotta sneeze. That's why I can't do radio, because you're supposed to have the discipline to hold your sneezes and not burp or do some random shit like you can on the internets. Okay, so yeah, no, in all seriousness, look, that's crazy. The news is wild. We have to get into that. I want to break it down. I've thought a lot about it. Yesterday, basically went through all the stages of grief yesterday, other than acceptance. I feel like I'm finally at the stage of acceptance, but I have questions. I have thoughts. I have concerns. And I still have a healthy amount of doubt. I still don't understand it fully, but there are several different ways that it could make sense, and so we're going to talk about it today. I'm talking about Doctor Strange 3. I'm talking about the Fantastic Four. I'm talking about how Doomsday might end up being a very different movie than we originally thought. What are they actually doing over there with Avengers Doomsday? Hopefully we find out soon. We're going to talk a lot about it today. Also have a small but important update about T'Challa and the recasted T'Challa plan from Marvel Studios. It seems like My Time to Shine was correct. It seems like Jeff Snyder has misunderstood. But we'll get into it and I'll explain what's going on. I'll also explain how that could actually work. So we'll get into that as well. And yeah, I think that's going to do it. I've got a lot to say about the Doctor Strange thing specifically today. So most of the show will end up, being about that and breaking that down. And who knows, maybe more earth-shattering news will happen as we are streaming together this fine morning. What's going on with you guys, man? Hope you guys are doing well. Oh, you know what? I do want to say too, as far as show notes are concerned, I mean, the first thing I'll say is, had a really good time on stream last night, actually. Played Marvel Rivals with members of the community. And man, I got to tell you, the Nerd Vengers are pretty solid at Marvel Rivals. I think we only lost like one, maybe two games. Absolutely killing it last night. It was a good time just to chill, play games with y'all, so I appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that came out for that. We're going to end up doing gaming once a month. Just a brief breakdown here, guys. So we do members only streams. Yesterday technically wasn't members only, but we're going to fix that in the future. We do streams that are only for members, people that have become members either on Twitch or on the YouTube channel. We do them every Wednesday night. And the model for this year, going into 2025, is that we're going to have like Q&A casual streams, kind of like in the first week of each month. We're going to watch some stuff together, and I'll give some commentary. We'll do like a watch party once a month. Once a month, we're going to do games. We're going to play games together. And because of Marvel Rivals' success and everything, it just kind of seems like we'll be playing Marvel Rivals for a while, right? Until some other game pops off. Or maybe not. Maybe Marvel Rivals will just go for the rest of 2025. That's kind of an interesting thought, because they're killing it. And then the last week of each month is going to be a deep dive. So next Wednesday is the last month of January, and we're going to deep dive on the Devil's Reign story, the Charles Soule Daredevil run. And I'm going to read that whole run again this weekend, just so it's like fresh in my mind. I'll make some notes. I'll come up with some interesting thoughts and breakdowns. And then Wednesday night, we're going to get together and we'll watch some videos of people breaking it down. So maybe we'll watch some Rob, maybe we'll watch some Comic Story, and we'll watch people that have broke that down and, give further context just via reading it and our own feedback. This is all to get ready for Daredevil Born Again, because that run is the run that has Muse. It has Wilson Fisk as the mayor. So I think that's going to be really, really cool. But I just want to put that out there because we had a lot of fun in 2024 on the member streams, and I think we're going to have a blast this year as well. So I appreciate everybody that showed up last night, and I'm looking forward to next week as well. Now, on a more not as cool note, I am going to take tomorrow off of streaming. Okay, now I will do the Diamond Lounge still. I promised you guys a Diamond Lounge. That happens via Discord, so we'll do that tomorrow night. But I'm swimming in a lot of chaos right now. I'm going to take tomorrow off just to try to catch up again. I'm hoping that within the next couple of weeks, things kind of smooth out. It's just a little crazy with a baby and a toddler and a lot of other business things that I'm going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to take tomorrow off. And I know, sorry about that. But we will have a Diamond Lounge tomorrow night. And then hopefully next week we have a smooth week. And we do all the streams. And it's all good. But for now, that's kind of the plan for now. Yeah. Maybe I'll just put a replay. I'll just pull a replay up from a long time ago and just put it on the stream and see if you guys notice. That's what we'll do. Maybe I shouldn't have even said anything. And that's kind of the move. Somebody on Twitch says Padme is Abeloth. I don't know, maybe. Maybe. You know, yesterday we talked about the Ryan Gosling news. I watched some other commentators chime in on that, and man, it's just sad. It's just, I think it's overall just a sad situation for Star Wars, man. I don't know. Maybe real quick we could start there. Have you guys thought any more about the Gosling stuff? Like, how you feeling about that? Because I'm still. Is that a W? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's not really getting me that excited. I'll be real. Show us the haircut. No new haircut right now. When's the video about Cap 4 coming out? There will be. So I have a video about Cap 4 that's with my editor. I have a big video today coming out about Doc Strange 3. You know, a lot of details about what is actually going on, breaking down the news, talking about why it's crazy. And I have a Cap video that will be ready either Friday or Saturday. And so this Captain America video, I already shot it, and the final edit's going on it right now. It's about a bunch of rumors for the film that actually have me excited, because if it weren't for these rumors, I probably wouldn't be excited for the movie at all. So there's some aspects outside of just Sam being Cap that are supposed to be in this movie that, as like a Marvel fan, as a fan of the MCU and just wanting to know what's going on, there's some cool stuff. So that'll be coming out relatively soon. Is Strange going to be in Doomsday? I don't know. It kind of seems like he's not. I don't know. Josh, I need your wish list for Rivals characters. Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer's at the top of my list, dude. I think it would be so cool. The game is so fun, partially because every kit, like every player that you character that you play as, it feels so good being that character. Like when you're Thor, like rushing in with the hammer, doing the lightning thing, throwing your hammer, going into God mode. It feels dope. Frankly, I might play a solo game against like NPCs with that character and feel like Thor, and it would be fucking awesome. So they really nail that. When you play as Mike, volume up, really? For real? I don't know, man. That's about as good as I can do right there. When you play that game, like when you play as Iron Man, it is just silky smooth, man. Like flying around, doing the beams, all that shit. So with that level of polish and feel, imagine being the Silver Surfer. I'm talking about the real Silver Surfer, by the way, Norrin Red. Imagine flying around on your board, doing cool moves, maybe phasing through objects, hitting them with some beams, some cosmic beams. That shit would be really cool. Yeah. So that's my top pick. Devil's Reign is Zdarsky. Oh, okay. Right on. Well, the Muse run is what we're going to read then. All right, guys, let's get into the news, man. Let's get in to DOS news. And I want to begin with talking about T'Challa. Let's talk about T'Challa. So, over the past couple of weeks, ever since Jeff Snyder dropped a really big exclusive in his newsletter about T'Challa, the fandom has kind of been, I don't know, I don't want to say an uproar, but things have been a little crazy. And the reaction to this news was very positive. And I even watched Jeff break this down with Roca on one of those shows that they do together, the Hot Mic Podcast. And even Snyder said when he was reporting this news, he expected some backlash. He expected some people to be weird about it. And instead of that, the response was very positive. I myself shared his news and was like, fuck yeah, like, let's go. Because I'm excited. I want T'Challa back, right? And overall, like, just a lot of excitement from the fans about this. I think it's time. I think people are ready, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the problem, though. And this is really what we got to talk about. I don't think that report was accurate. As soon as Jeff said that, My Time to Shine Hello came out and said, oh, actually, it's not a recasted T'Challa. It's a aged up variant of Prince T'Challa, the child from the end of Wakanda Forever. And look, Jeff is very reliable. Jeff's very good. My Time to Shine is very reliable, very good. As we're going to discuss later in the show, nobody's perfect. This includes the best people out there, the best scoopers, the best sources. Nobody's perfect. Nobody gets everything correct. But these conflicting reports were interesting. And I remember my initial take was, the only problem here is that Jeff is not a nerd. And he's not just not a nerd, he's like allergic to the nerdy shit. Meaning, you start talking to him about variant multiverse and stuff like that, he checks out. He says this, not me. He said that. So he doesn't fully understand the concepts that are currently governing what is possible within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he doesn't understand how nerdy those people are, like Feige and those executives and those people. They do really nerdy shit. That's the history of Marvel. So when this happened and we had Shine talking about this, I was immediately like, oh, I gotta say, I'm leaning towards Shine being correct. Partially just because, yeah, Jeff doesn't understand the nerdy shit, but also, if you look at Marvel, they literally bring this kid in the second movie. So are we just going to like ignore that forever? It doesn't seem like that doesn't seem like Marvel. Marvel usually does not abandon shit that they build up completely unless it's like Kang and shit, right? So it would just be weird for Marvel to do Wakanda Forever, have the child at the end, and then several years later flip it, recast Chadwick Boseman as his father, bring him back, and then still have the child? That would be weird. Now, I would like that. I prefer that. I wish that were what is going on. But that's not what's going on. At least not according to Shine, and I think Shine's correct on this. So check this out. I wanted to bring this to your attention. Charles Murphy was doing a Q&A via Twitter. And I'll show you two things that he said. This one here, he says, all the current talk revolves around them again up T'Challa 2. Now, that's a pretty unfortunate typo on a subject matter that I think people are incredibly interested in. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? But he's saying aging up. You know, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that what he meant was all the current talk revolves around them aging up T'Challa the Second. Okay? And if we look at his profile here, I'm pretty sure he commented on this again. Let me see. Yeah, right here. Everyone is saying it's his son. So when he says everyone, I think he's talking about like the scooping cabal, which is like a bunch of people that are, you know, somewhat on the inside. And then potentially his sources as well, right? Potentially the people that give him information as well. Everyone is saying it's his son. Now, Charles Murphy has kind of stepped back a little bit from the whole scooping game and whatever. And the Cosmic Circus is actually they have a connection to Charles Murphy. I don't want to get too far into it, but like the people that started Cosmic Circus used to work with Charles Murphy, and they're now kind of doing their own thing. That could be Alex as well. I'm actually not 100% sure on that, but I know that there's a history there, let's say. So it's probably going to be the T'Challa is basically what I'm saying here. And I think it's a little bit unfortunate. Look, I'm trying to be super fair here because I really like Jeff Snyder. I like Jeff Snyder way more than a lot of you guys like Jeff Snyder. I subscribe to his newsletter. I thought his thirst traps and trying to get a lady on Twitter was totally fine. Who gives a shit? And, there have been other stories in the past where Jeff talks about, Brie Larson being a problem on the set for Captain Marvel 2, and everybody acts like his whole reputation doesn't matter because it's news that they don't want to hear. I feel like he's been unfairly treated by a lot of people. But here's the thing. He did report something that might not be what is happening, and he might have set a lot of people up to be very fucking disappointed. Because it's one thing, ladies and gentlemen, let's be real. It's one thing to desire T'Challa to be recast. It's another thing to even talk about rumors, etc., etc. I know that Jeff reported this as a rumor, and he has tried to delineate between a rumor and an exclusive. And I think a lot of the effort on his part after he reported it was potentially to kind of walk it back and protect himself a little bit. But I still ultimately think you live and die by the sword, and you did put this out. So it's a tricky situation. As always, I'm just trying to be clear here. I want to give you guys the best information. I want to let you know exactly what I think is going on. It's all rumors and speculation until we see what Marvel actually does. But it does look like it's going to be T'Challa. Now, a couple other things in this report, too. Charles also mentions that this new T'Challa, which is likely an aged up T'Challa II, will be in Doomsday and Secret Wars. But what he said was in fact, we can just find what he said. I believe he said something like, that's what we're hearing, but nobody really knows what is going on. Yeah, right here. Are we expecting T'Challa for both Doomsday and Secret Wars? He says, that's the rumor right now. I haven't been able to get any info on either project yet. So that's what people are saying. You guys can't see this. So this is what people are saying, but the actual information on Doomsday and Secret Wars is kind of secretive, for lack of a better word. So interesting. Now, what does this mean? How could this actually happen, right? Well, there are two main ways that this could happen. I mean, number one, it could just be a multiversal variant of T'Challa II that has come in from the universe. And so in that situation, you'd technically have two T'Challas. You'd have the young T'Challa II, and then you'd have a variant of T'Challa II. And maybe that's what they do, okay? I can see that working. I still think it's kind of weird. I still think they're kind of trying to have their cake and eat it too. But sure, sure, I can see it working. The other possibility is a little bit more interesting to me, and it has to do with a rumor about the Fantastic Four. So right now, Franklin Richards is heavily rumored to be a big part of the Fantastic Four movie, and also somewhat connected to Doctor Doom and what they are doing in Doomsday. So one of the things that Daniel Richtman has reported is that Franklin will be like 4 years old in the Fantastic Four movie, but then he'll be like 13 years old in Doomsday. So that's kind of weird, right? Like, how would that work exactly? Perhaps if the Fantastic Four leave their universe at the end of that movie and go through some black holes and end up on 616, maybe they actually are having a large amount of time pass. Maybe that's what ages Franklin up. Not really sure. But I thought about that and I was like, that's kind of wild. I wonder if they could do the same for T'Challa. So this would be a scenario in which they take the actual Prince T'Challa II, the one that was established in Wakanda Forever, and through some timey-wimey multiversal travel shenanigans, they age him up so that he's basically like a young adult / adult male T'Challa during Secret Wars. So those are my two kind of theories on how this could happen. And again, this is stuff that like probably like you start saying it to Jeff Snyder and he's like, or whatever, right? I get that. And maybe it won't work for casual audiences either. But this is stuff that Marvel is doing. And it is getting wild. And they are using the multiverse and they are doing weird stuff like that. So that's what it ends up being. Now, I know for a lot of people, this is just not good enough. And a lot of people are going to be super angry about this. You know, for me, I don't know. I'm kind of loosening up a little bit on this. Number one, because just like the Doctor Strange thing, at some point we have to realize this shit is not in our control. And what makes sense to us is not necessarily what makes sense to the studio, and the studio is going to do what the studio does. Does it really help us if we go into these films and we go into this, you know, fandom and having fun experiencing this stuff? Does it really help us to go into that with the mindset that it's our way or the highway? I don't know. I think you can criticize the T'Challa thing from Wakanda Forever. I think you can criticize the T'Child. But at some level, you know, I have to just either vibe with it or not. And if it's a male Black Panther named T'Challa that's hanging out with the Avengers during Secret Wars and whatnot, like, I'm good. Like, that's probably enough for me. I want the Black Panther and T'Challa to be represented in this big celebration of Marvel. I mean, especially for Secret Wars. Like, I feel like you really need that. So, yeah, that's kind of the updates. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I don't know, man. Don't shoot the messenger. Okay? I'm just trying to tell you what's probably going on, okay? So, that's the report. How it could happen, my thoughts on it. You guys let me know. What do you think about this shit? Are you super mad? Are you chilling? Let me know in the comment section below or right now in the live stream or whatever. Let me know. What do you think? What do you think? Chat, what do you think? Do I think that the tech from Endgame of passing through the person can be used? I feel like they want Doomsday and Secret Wars to come out right out of Endgame. I'm not sure I know what you mean. Passing through a person? I don't know what that means, man. Oh, you mean like when Scott gets turned into a baby or an old man? Possible. Middleton Strong says, Josh, why is no one talking about the 3 Mystery 2028 titles? One of them is May 2028. This could be the rumored Secret Wars follow-up, Eternity Wars. This way, Doc Strange 3 and Black Panther 3 could fit into this saga. I guess nobody's talking about it because 2027 feels like sort of an end and a beginning. And until we get closer to that, it's like, of course, there's going to be multiple Marvel movies in 2028. Like, right now, if you look at a lot of stuff that Feige has said recently, and a lot of this was like late last year when he was at Comic-Cons or D23s or whatever, he was talking about how, like, when they approached Endgame, they really thought of it as an end, but they weren't exactly sure what was next. They had, like, some ideas for Secret Wars, but I think the reality is they didn't know how to transition out of an end into the next thing. And what Kevin's been saying a lot lately, and what he's sort of signaling to us, the fans, is the next thing is mutants, and the story of Secret Wars is going to set that up. So instead of like Endgame and then like Spider-Man No Way or Far From Home's kind of dealing with it, Black Widow's a prequel, you know, Shang-Chi's completely on its own, etc. Like, instead of that feeling, they want the through line and the connection and the connective tissue to like just keep going. So I don't know that movies having dates in 2028 is really significant at all. As far as the rumor of Eternity War, that movie's copyright is still held by Marvel. That could mean several different things. Is there an Eternity War movie coming? I think so. Is it Secret Wars Part 2? I doubt that. Like, I doubt that at this point. I think it's probably a movie down the line, maybe 5-6 years from now. But we'll see. I mean, wouldn't that be crazy if they actually did the Eternity War thing? I think that would be sick. I think it's just the future, Josh. Doomsday is set in the future from when Doom is doing his stuff, similar to Endgame, time jump. So that's a possibility too. I thought about that last night. I was like, man, I wonder if they're going to do a time jump. But like, what would explain the time jump? I mean, part of, like, so yesterday, right? And we're going to get into the Doc Strange stuff in a second here. But part of what's fun about yesterday is like it recontextualizes things and it makes you think in new ways about what could be happening. Like, Doomsday might be a very different movie than we thought. Like, I pretty much thought I knew a lot of the beats of that film. And now I'm like, what? No Doctor Strange. Doc Strange doing a bunch of stuff in Secret Wars. What? That's crazy. So we'll get into that. Is it possible it's just a time jump? Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. How would you explain that, though? Like, so the beginning of the movie is just way in the future? That seems weird, right? Like, why would you build with Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and Captain America and then go, like, years into the future for Doomsday? That doesn't make sense. You start, then it's like, okay, you start the movie right after Fantastic Four, Doomsday, Thunderbolts, so that you pay off all of the stuff from those films. And then there's a time jump? I mean, maybe, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't that be weird? Like, what if after the first 20 to 30 minutes in Doomsday, Doom wins, and then it's 10 years later? Like, I don't know. That still seems too weird, right? So it could happen. There's a lot we don't know, but I try to judge things like that. Like, I try to think, okay, well, what if this? What if that? Here's how that could work, etc. Yeah. Yeah. Any other comments about the T'Challa stuff, though, guys? Any other comments about the T'Challa stuff? Baby Bird, what up, though? Hey. By the way, the new TVA comic, issue 2, just introduced the son of Mephisto, and Mobius might have died? Oh, man, that's a bummer. Captain America Brave New World tracking at 95 million. Is that too low? I don't think it's too low. I don't think it's great. And I think a lot of Captain America's stuff has to do with the second weekend. Like, what's the word of mouth? What's the fall off? What's the drop off? How are people feeling about this thing? Because, like, I hope the movie's so slick and so fun, and maybe the Red Hulk stuff is so dope that I ride the ride and I want to just get right back on it and get another ticket. That would be great. I'd love to be feeling that. Yeah, we'll see. I talked about this on Twitter, man. I think the marketing for this movie has been brilliant. There's been some debate. I've heard other people in the space and other commentators kind of say they think the marketing has been lackluster. Oh, I totally disagree. I think they're going hard on the marketing. I think they're doing a lot of interesting things. I think they did a ton of Comic-Cons, international things. So, yeah. Optimus Prime Rib says, I think we will miss the drama of a young T'Challa meeting a variant of his father. Would be dope, or would have been up there with Doom and Peter meeting. Yeah, look, I totally agree with that. It just seems like Marvel doesn't want to do that. Like, at the end of the day, I guess here's the question. Here's a question. Because we know that Marvel is listening. They're at least aware of what the fandom is talking about. Okay? And we have seen certain pivots. We've seen certain changes at Marvel Studios and seemingly for their culture and their ideas. When this story was reported by Jeff, did Marvel take a step back and see how positive people were about it? I don't know. Like, did they see how people were excited about this? And did that make them, like, reconsider what their current plan is? I don't know. It's a hard circle to square, dude. Like, they established the kid in movie 2. What are you going to do with that? You're just literally going to do nothing with the kid? Or are you going to completely reboot, reset? I don't know. I think, by the way, they're missing an opportunity. Like, here's what I would say to them if they asked me. I'd be like, look, you're missing the opportunity. Sure, do the T'Challa. I get it in the 3rd Black Panther movie. I totally get it. You want to do it. But you have multiverse shit happening. You're missing an opportunity to bring an actual variant of T'Challa back. Have him form some kind of bond with the T'Challa. And then, boom, you satisfy T'Challa fans. He was a part of Secret Wars. And then you let, the child do his thing, and that's the legacy. But the problem with that from their perspective is they have so dug their heels in on not wanting anybody to be T'Challa, the one from comics, other than Chadwick Boseman. And until they realize that logic is flawed, they're just not going to do a lot of the stuff that we're considering. Like, we just think that's so simple because we're not hung up on needing Chad to be the only T'Challa. You know what I mean? Like, that just isn't in us. So therefore, we have all sorts of possibilities that could work. There's all sorts of ways that we would accept this. But they just don't, man. Like, they're not feeling it. Nuckin' Futz says, Doom destroys the FF universe and they learn he's leaving for 616. FF goes to 616 back in time, our current MCU, and warns them of Doom. I don't hate this, but then, you have to explain why. I don't know, man. So what you're saying technically could make sense because it's possible that the Fantastic Four universe is ahead of us in time. I mean, time is fluid and shit anyway, right? But then you'd have to explain how the FF could get back in time to the current MCU and then start to prepare them. And then maybe there's a time jump and Doom shows up. That feels narratively very strange. You know what I mean? Is that really, I don't know. Is that good? Is that good pacing? Is that really interesting? The first act of a movie is getting a warning and then preparing for years and then we're good. I don't know. If you look at Infinity War, the warning and the attack basically happen at the same time. And this is for pacing. It's in order for, the driving of the narrative. Hulk shows up. What's his name again? Oh shit, the aliens are here. And then you have to fight him, right? It would feel strange to do it your way. But I see what you're saying. Could technically work. Could technically work. The kid is going to be gone in the reboot anyway? Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. There's a lot of questions about the reboot, but I think the kid is going to be there. For a lot of characters, this is why it's a soft reboot. If it was a hard reboot, then I would agree with you. You know what I mean? Like, I would agree with you. But it's a soft reboot. And one of the only things that we've heard about this is, and it's such a weird thing, right? Like, I still try to wrap my head around this. Alex Perez says one of his sources told him that when it comes to the soft MC reboot, it'll be like nothing happened. So for a lot, I mean, on the one hand, that makes your canon a lot easier. You don't have to get into issues of trying to over-explain things or whatever. You basically just be like, oh yeah, everything that happened in all those movies and shows, it still happened. Right? So that's, kind of convenient or whatever. But, yeah, dude, like, I don't agree. I don't think the kid's going away. T'Challa is nasty work? I'm sorry, brother. I just don't agree. And I'm not going to change my language about something because you really care about it and I don't. I'm sorry. If that offends you, man, then respectfully, be offended. Joshua says, so maybe Doomsday is like the new Avengers and they will fast track Strange 3 Time Runs Out storyline before Secret Wars. Also, young T'Challa, better than none. You mean better than nothing? Okay, yeah. I can see that. Time runs out. Doc Strange 3. Absolutely possible. Before I get into that, Josh, let me just get into the actual stuff I want to say about Doc Strange 3 and Doomsday. So, let's talk about it. What is actually going on with Doomsday? What is actually going on with Doctor Strange? So yesterday, earth-shattering news came out. This was in the Hollywood trades. They, I guess, did an interview with Benedict Cumberbatch. And Benedict Cumberbatch let some stuff slip that's absolutely mind-blowing. And they reported what he said. And what he said was, I'm not in Avengers Doomsday. Is that a spoiler? Fuck it. Which is wild. Frankly, that's wild. I also had a very hard time accepting this as reality. And frankly, I kind of crashed out a little bit yesterday. I will often get you guys sharing links or asking me to talk about this, that, second, and the third, or maybe a new trailer, this thing, when I'm in the middle of talking about something else. I forget what we were talking about. I think we were talking to Star Wars, Ryan Gosling. And, you guys were hitting me up with this thing, and I couldn't believe it. And, this is a teaching moment. Here's the deal. I'm going to hold the L on this because I was so certain. That this was not true. That when you shared this news to me, it just hit like a brick wall of my hard head. I was so sure that this could not actually be the case that I discounted the information. And there's a lesson here. And I think the main lesson is we can try as best we can to formulate models for what we think is happening. We can try as best we can to stay on top of all the rumors and leaks. We can do all of that. But at the end of the day, this is all, in motion. And this is stuff that's constantly changing. And I think particularly with Doomsday and Secret Wars, one of the things we're going to have to admit, and one of the things we're going to kind of have to wrap our heads around, is that there's a shit ton of change going on right now, okay? So let's just like leave that, right? Like that's like an obvious thing. And when it comes to Doomsday, it seems like this movie's gonna be very different than what a lot of us felt like it was going to be. Potentially Secret Wars too. Like there's actually a fun aspect to this, right? There's like a fun side of it because it means like, oh shit, like this is possible now. This is possible now. Whoa, that's possible now. Maybe it's like this, etc., etc. So we're still going to do our thing. We're still going to try to be as accurate as possible. I'm going to try to stay on top of everything that's going on. But at the end of the day, we can't get like married to these ideas. Anything is possible. Even the best scooper, the best source thing, and I really do believe that like Alex Perez and the Cosmic Circus, they're probably the best in the game. Even their information, their reports cannot be taken as like ironclad law. And we have to be open to these other things that are going on. So with that said, why was this so shocking to me? Why was this so shocking? Like, why did it shock me so much? Why was I so resistant to this being a reality? Well, there's basically like two main reasons, but the one I'll focus on here is the reporting from Alex Perez with regards to Stephen Strange and Doctor Doom. And we can go over some of the things that Alex said. And ultimately, when you look at like what Alex said and you look at what Benedict Cumberbatch said, it does seem like Stephen Strange is still going to play a massive role in this story. And when I say this story, what I'm really talking about is between Doomsday, technically you could say between Fantastic Four, Doomsday, potential movies in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and then ultimately Secret Wars. I mean, we believe that Secret Wars will be the end of that story. And so that's what I mean is like in that overall story, the end of the Multiverse Saga, which is going to involve RDJ's Doctor Doom. It's going to involve multiversal variants. It's going to involve potentially Battle World, a Battle World universe. That's what I'm talking about. Benedict Cumberbatch said, I'm not in Doomsday, and that has to do with Jonathan Majors being fired. Got to be real, not really sure if that's true. Okay, I don't want to get all like lawyerly or, hit this like Sherlock Holmes, but a lot of the reporting of Kang Dynasty was that Strange was not going to be in that movie. And we'll show you some stuff that Alex Perez said with regards to that. In fact, the only reason we thought Strange would be in Doomsday had to do with time runs out and the pivot to Doctor Doom. So, as soon as they pivoted to RDJ's Doctor Doom, a lot of us comic book heads, we thought back to Time Runs Out. We thought back to, Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars and those comics. And some of this was, again, aided by reporting from Alex Perez. But the whole deal was, oh, shit, they're doing Doom. They could do Time Runs Out. Doctor Strange 3, that's the place to do it. And so there was a time where we thought Doctor Strange 3 would actually come out before Doomsday, right? And we were like, yo, that's a perfect way to set Doomsday up because Doom trying to figure out the collapsing multiverse, Doctor Strange trying to figure out the collapsing multiverse. Oh, they meet at the end of time. They form some kind of a bond. Doom does big dick Doom things, fixes everything, and creates Battle World. Strange is kind of like, all right, I'll chill with this motherfucker. That's like the story. And I was like, wow, perfect way to set up Doomsday, right? So part of the reason we all thought the Doctor Strange stuff would be in Doomsday is when it became kind of apparent that Doc Strange 3, the film, would not come out before Avengers Doomsday, right? So, and by the way, there's still a lot of mystery and debate about this. Like, is Doc Strange 3 coming out like now, tomorrow, before Doomsday, after Doomsday, before Secret Wars, after Secret Wars? We'll talk about that in a second. But that's like the main reason it was so unbelievable. We were on this train of thought where we were like, okay, they shifted to Doom. They're going to do Time Runs Out. Oh, there's already established rumors that Doc Strange 3 would deal with the Black Priests, maybe Black Swans. That's crazy. That's all Hickman stuff. So there's like a lot of reasons that people believe that. When we thought Doctor Strange 3 wasn't going to happen. We all just assumed they'll take those story bits and jam them in to Doomsday. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's fine. Like, I guess you could make it work in Doomsday. Doomsday seems like a movie that's going to be layered. It seems like a movie that's going to have a lot of characters, a lot of different narratives. So one of those just easily could have been Doom and Strange. Now, I should have been, in hindsight, when I think about this, it's like, yeah, but Doom is going to have shit with Spider-Man. Like, Doom, I don't know. Is there room for that? There's going to be Pedro Reed. So would Doom do all the time runs out stuff with Stephen Strange and yet still have Tom Holland be the lead and still have a focus on that relationship? Like, I should have thought through that and been like, yeah, probably not. You know, that's just a lot. There's a lot to juggle. And potentially there's like whiteboards and attempts by Marvel to figure that out, but it kind of feels like ultimately they have dropped it. But it seems like, again, literally according to what Benedict said yesterday and a lot of stuff that Alex suggested in his comments, it seems like Strange is still going to be really, really important to Secret Wars. That's like, that really changes the game for me. For me. Because I'm like, dude, so he's not in Doomsday at all. That's weird. No time runs out. And then he's going to be a major part of Secret Wars and a major part of where the story goes. Because Doom was, or rather Strange was a important part of Secret Wars. But it's all set up and time runs out. Without time runs out, I don't know. It doesn't have the same hit. It doesn't have the same oomph. So Strange becomes one of the only people in Battle World that remembers the old universe, that knows that Doom's not truly a god, etc., etc. And he's with Doom, totally helping him out. And then all of a sudden, the heroes that survived on the raft are there. And Doctor Strange is like, you know what? Kind of fuck Doom. You know, I thought about it. I've been here for a while. This is a pretty chill battle world, but it could be way better. It's kind of fuck Doom all day now. Avengers, I'm going to help you out. And he literally like sacrifices his life. Doom kills him. It's crazy. But that can't be what they're doing with Strange in the Secret Wars film, especially if he's not in Doomsday at all. Right? So it really is kind of a pickle, brother. And it means this shit's different. It's just going to be way different than the comic books. And look, I tend to believe, like, here, I'll fast forward through some stuff because I actually think that what's going on is we're not getting time runs out. And what we're getting instead is completely based off of whatever this thing is with RDJ Doctor Doom and the multiverse overall, right? I've spoken about this in some videos and streams, but like the Russo Brothers recently came out and they made a statement that said, we weren't going to do this. We asked McFeely if he wanted to do this. He said, fuck no. Then he came up with a brilliant idea and it activated us all. Now, I believe that idea is so crazy that it was why Marvel originally rejected the Russo brothers pitch. If you remember, around the time that the Russos got the gig and it was announced, it leaked in the trades and then it was announced at Comic-Con officially. Jeff Snyder reported that Marvel initially rejected the Russos pitch. Now, maybe that's partially just because they were hesitant to work with the Russos again. There might have been some beef there. Who knows? But another explanation is Marvel looked at the pitch and they were like, bro, are you serious right now? Like, are you serious right now? We're not doing that. That's way too crazy. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And then all of a sudden they thought about it more and more and they're like, it is a pretty good idea. It is pretty crazy. Interesting. And then another thing that kind of goes into this that's really weird is they're rewriting Secret Wars completely from scratch. That came out a couple of weeks ago. So Michael Waldron's script is, they threw that shit out. So they're starting from scratch. I did not hear the same thing with regards to Doomsday, but maybe that's what's happening there too. And so it kind of seems like what I'm trying to get to is this genesis of this idea for the Russo brothers. The genesis of that idea may well have changed a lot of Marvel's pre-established plans for Doomsday and for Secret Wars. Okay? Now, let's read a couple of things that Alex Perez said here over the years. By the way, this is not everything he has said. This Titan guy, look, I like Alex, but I also have to be fair here. This is not everything Alex has said. And I know this because I've been reading everything that Alex has said for years. So this guy posted the most convenient things to bring up to make Alex look good in this situation. It's not the full story. However, there is some stuff in here that kind of makes it seem like Alex was not completely off base. So, for instance, a lot of the ideas they had for it certainly looked like it could work for a third Doctor Strange movie. Again, that... Oh, you guys can't see this shit. Hang on. That falls in line with what we've been talking about. Okay, let me adjust this for you a little bit here, guys. Okay, so it could work for Doctor Strange 3 movie, and what made it work was that it would justify Strange's absence in Avengers 5 before returning to Secret Wars. Now, I'm not so sure. Strange was poised to have one of the biggest roles in the Multiverse Saga against Kang. And they had some really good story ideas for that character, one of which raised the question as to whether or not Strange was actually a hero in the grand scheme of the multiverse. His words say one thing, his actions say the other. Does he help or not? Right? Basically is what he's saying. So the reason this person brings this up is because he's saying like his absence in Avengers 5 before returning in Doomsday. So technically there was a time when Alex was reporting this, but it's a little disingenuous because he's actually talking about prior plans here, not the current plan, right? But again, he's saying not so sure. So fair play. Benedict Cumberbatch's Stephen Strange with Robert Downey Jr.'s Victor Von Doom will shatter universes. I remember this is the same article that he teases when why the flowers bloom in winter in Latveria or something, which is a direct call to the 36th issue of New Avengers. Shatter universes. It will feature some of the most important sequences in the Multiverse Saga. So the point here and why he's bringing this up is like, they're trying to tell you that a lot of what Alex was reporting is still going to happen, that he was not completely off base, that this stuff is important. And I will say it does match up with what Benedict Cumberbatch is saying about how important his shit is to Secret Wars, right? So sure. Now, this is a big old blob here leading into Secret Wars here. He's talking about like Strange's story. I'll just read to this bottom part here. Could Strange essentially be manipulated by Doom into doing his bidding? After all, they're both instrumental in the Time Runs Out and Secret Wars stories in the comics. Yeah, true. Another pairing I will find interesting is what Doctor Strange and Clea are doing in the Dark Dimension. I've been investigating this for a while, and what I'm curious in seeing is the reaction of the heroes of 616 will have when they see Strange next, because by all accounts and purposes, Stephen Strange has been gone for 2 whole years. By the time we reach Doomsday, and he's left the Sanctum unguarded as well. He certainly didn't tell Wong where he was, so that's going to be a reunion I'm very much looking forward to. So again, just stating that there was going to be an absence of Doctor Doom. And I do think now that we have Benedict's comments, it's probably the case that, yeah, he's not in Avengers 5 because he is out there with Clea. Doomsday will focus on who exactly is to blame for the current state of the multiverse. Was it Kang? Was it his variants? Was it someone else? What I'm hearing is that they're trying to shift the blame to Doctor Strange. Okay, and so Strange might well be blamed for the state of the multiverse, and perhaps Doom will be like, yeah, it's all Strange's fault. I'm here to fix it up. Okay? So the reason I wanted to share these reports from Alex and, talk in more clarity about what I think is going on is my sort of knee-jerk reaction yesterday was like, oh my God, can we trust any of these scoopers? Maybe Alex was crazy. Maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. What the hell's going on? The sky is falling. That's not what's going on. These are seemingly still accurate to the plan. It is just the case that the interpretation that many of us had, that this would be in Doc Strange 3, but if that movie's not happening before Doomsday, that plot would likely just be put into Doomsday. That jump in logic was a mistake. So Doc Strange 3. Is it happening? We'll talk about that in a second. But Doc Strange being in Doomsday? Nah, fam. Doesn't seem that way. So before we move on to some of these other topics, that was a big old segment there. What do you guys make of this news? Because I want to talk about Doc Strange 3, how it could still happen, and then I want to talk about the Fantastic Four. But what do you think about this? Let's just start here. What do you make of this situation? What do you make of this? You know, old Kevin likes to subvert people's expectations. Yeah, I think he does. It's actually one of my least favorite things that they do. But I get it. I get it. What if Clea is taking the role of the Black Swan and has taken Strange out of the picture in orders from Doom and then brings him back before Secret Wars? And it's the whole start of the God Emperor stuff. Clea is the Black Swan taking Strange out of the picture in order for Doom's plan. Maybe. Yeah, we could see. I could see how that would potentially work. So when do you get naked? Well, look, I've consulted with like my legal team, and I'm actually under no obligation to do that. But maybe tomorrow night on the Diamond Lounge. You never know. Maybe be there. It makes sense. He went to the negative zone with Clea. Well, it's not the negative zone. It's the dark dimension, but it's similar to the negative zone in a lot of ways. So yeah, him being in the dark dimension probably explains his absence in Doomsday. The absence of Dr. Doom. Yeah. Small detail, but do you think when Tony said in Endgame, when you mess with time, it tends to mess back, will play a big role? Potentially. Right now, one of my favorite rumors about Doomsday is that RDJ's Dr. Doom was somehow present during a scene in Iron Man 1. And we're going to see that scene from the perspective of RDJ's Dr. Doom in Doomsday. So what this reminds me of is Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home. If you remember, there's a scene that shows a scene from Civil War where Tony Stark is showing off the barf technology. But it shows that scene from a different perspective, and it basically shows that, what's his name? Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio, he's like behind the curtain. It was actually his technology, and he's like fucking big mad that Tony took all his valor. So I imagine it would be something like that, but like way more serious and potentially way more badass. But I don't know exactly what that could be. Moose says, hey Josh, are the rumors about Iron Fist and Shang-Chi having a movie together true? If so, would you like this? Nerd Ventures for Life. I think it's way too early to know what they're doing with Shang-Chi. I've heard those rumors, but it's just way too early. Maybe at one point that was a thing when Shang-Chi was going to come out before Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty, etc. But right now it's like, I don't know. Michael Phantom says, Clea is working for Doom. She takes Strange out of 616, so he's not there. Big twist is Dr. Doom and Doc Strange 3 happen at the same time. Like Saw 3 and Saw 4. It's possible. We're going to talk about Doc Strange 3 in a minute here. The Doc Strange 3, if Doctor Strange 3 comes out before Secret Wars, then we're all overreacting. Everything makes sense, and they will actually have story to develop all this. Like, it literally makes it all make sense if that movie's happening. And I actually agree with you. It could happen congruent to Doomsday. It could happen, like, before Doomsday and then deal with stuff after Doomsday. Because, like, it would be fascinating, right? Like, so like, think about this. If Stephen Strange is out there stopping incursions with Clea, potentially with a bunch of badass variants, the Black Priest, etc. If he's out there just doing his thing, and then Doom ends the entire multiverse, what's that going to be like? Like, wouldn't he experience that? Wouldn't he experience, like, either all the incursions at once or the universe or the multiverse, like, being destroyed? Huh. What would that be like? Could be interesting. I don't know. Joshua says, please don't get naked. I have to gouge my eyes out. Hey, I don't know if it's going to happen, but it could. You know, we're going to start having margaritas and tequila does crazy stuff. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. Maybe from Iron Man 2 when Tony creates the new element. I've heard it's Iron Man 1, though. That's the rumor. Do you think other universes besides 616 and Deadpool X universe could be involved? Squadron Supreme? I would love that, but it feels like I don't know, man. It's just hard to imagine that's what's going on. This whole Doc Strange thing kind of feels like they're trying to strip down the movie. The movie's going to be very complicated, but it feels like they're trying to strip it down. Like, because it kind of seems like Fantastic Four will potentially be just the direct setup to Doomsday, and then boom, we'll hit Doomsday kind of like we hit it with the ground running, so to speak, and then like the Fantastic Four are there and they're like, yo, RDJ Dr. Doom's about to fuck shit up. You and then, you know, Tom Holland's like, Mr. RDJ Tony Stark, you know, and like then it all goes down. So feels like they're kind of stripping out some of that shit. So like, I don't know if they're gonna add new universes. I could see that X-Men universe being involved for sure, but I don't know about that other shit. Divinity Seeker just said our Doctor Strange won't be in Doomsday, but it'll be another variant. Seeker has a good track record recently. He might have even gotten rid of his fake sources. I highly doubt that, brother. I highly doubt that. I actually don't think Divinity Seeker knows any goddamn thing. Okay? I could be wrong. Okay? It very rarely happens. It technically happened yesterday. But I'm not going to just start following Divinity Seeker now. We already have a great collection of sources that are very reliable. I mean, between, like, you think about it, between the Cosmic Circus, between Shine, between Daniel, between Jeff Snyder, between the Hollywood Trades, we have people that are very reliable. And if stories are corroborated within that group, I tend to believe them. I don't need new scoopers. That doesn't do anything for me, you know? You're definitely not wrong often, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Braden. That's very kind of you. He predicted a lot of stuff if you go to his newest track record. I don't care. I won't go check, and I don't believe you. How about that? How about that for a triple threat? I don't care. I'm not going to go check, and I don't believe you. Any other questions? I don't want to crash out. I'm trying not to crash out today. You know, I had a monumental crash out yesterday. Have you ever said live in front of hundreds of people that you're going to hang dong? Yeah, I don't think so. So let's just fucking keep it chill today. Holy shit. Anyway, let's move on to Doctor Strange 3. Shall we? Doctor Strange 3. Is this movie a thing? Is this going to happen? What the hell's going on? I think there is still a chance that Doctor Strange 3 could come out before Secret Wars. I don't know, man. What do you think? Like, I bet I hear you type in your comments right now. I can see the people in chat. They're already getting mad. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm dead ass. I think it could happen. It would make all of the stuff from yesterday with Benedict Cumberbatch make sense. I mean, one of the big problems here is we're like, dude, there's been a lot of evidence that time runs out and Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, a lot of evidence to suggest that's really important. In fact, the only reason we thought Doctor Strange was going to be in Doomsday is because we were so fucking convinced that Doctor Strange 3, the movie film, was going to be essential to setting this story up. So then, therefore, we're like, okay, Doctor Strange 3 isn't happening. Well, they're going to take that story. They're going to smash it into Doomsday. Okay, we're going to have time runs out in Doomsday. Time is fucking running out in that movie because holy shit, there's a lot of stuff in it. So yesterday, Benedict Cumberbatch says, I'm not in Doomsday. you dumbass motherfucker den of nerds. And I couldn't believe he called me out by name. It was crazy. So he's not in that movie. Well, if so facto, the easiest way to make sense of this is like take a step back in our train of thinking. Doc Strange 3 handles all that story. Doc Strange 3 would make all of that shit make sense. And let's not forget, there are a lot of rumors regarding Doctor Strange 3. Jeff Snyder just scooped like a couple months ago that Sam Raimi's in talks for Doc Strange 3. We're hearing Doc Strange 3 rumors. And Benedict Cumberbatch, when asked about this yesterday, played it pretty coy about the third movie. Maybe he already knows. Maybe it's coming out. Maybe they could push that shit forward. Technically, right now, what we have is we have sort of a hard start time for Doomsday. We know Spider-Man 4 is going to have Sydney Sweeney as Mephisto Ghost Rider with 3 boobs. That's all we know about Spider-Man 4. And that it's supposed to come out between Secret Wars and Doomsday. There are big rumors that something Hulk related is also going into production. Maybe World War Hulk by George Miller, directed by George Miller. That could potentially come out in the next couple of years before Secret Wars. We have a date for Secret Wars, but there's also been talks that Secret Wars might be delayed. They're rewriting the whole thing. So a lot of things are in flux. As I'm saying, and this is sort of the theme for today, there's a lot of shit happening. Things are changing. Marvel's trying to figure it out. And we're over here trying to figure out what they're doing. So there's a lot of moving parts. We don't know anything for sure. But there are a lot of rumors regarding either World War Hulk or Doctor Strange 3 Battle World movies happening before Secret Wars. There's also the potential that Secret Wars gets delayed. I don't think it's going to get delayed out of 2027. But it is possible that it gets delayed till like the winter of 2027. They could even delay it to 2028. If Doomsday pops the fuck off, wait, let me say this again. If Fantastic Four pops the fuck off, and then Doomsday pops the fuck off, then they can delay Secret Wars. Fans will be okay with it. Like, they can even delay it a full year. I don't think they should. I don't think they're going to. But the point is, as soon as you get the goodwill, like if Doomsday hits and people are like, okay, RDJ Doctor Doom, I thought it was maybe just a money grab. I thought it was bullshit, but it's actually dope. I can't believe they're doing this. This is crazy. I'm in. Then they could delay Secret Wars, okay? So, as Marvel's trying to figure all of this out, as they are trying to figure out how all the cogs in the machine fit together, we already know, according to Benedict Cumberbatch's own mouth, that he will play a massive role in Secret Wars and where that's going. The question is that story then set up by the third movie? Is Doctor Strange perhaps in World War Hulk? Does Strange come back from his sabbatical with Clea? You know, going across the multiverse with a beautiful blonde biddy? And then he's just back for World War Hulk, and he's like, yo, this planet really went to shit. What happened? Everybody's like, Doctor Doom. And he's like, oh, damn. Maybe. So it seems like there are pieces of this story that are missing. And that could be either in one movie where you have a lot of different characters, like in Avengers 5.5, right? So you do Doomsday. You have Spider-Man 4. Maybe you then have World War Hulk, and that involves everybody. And it's kind of like an Avengers 5.5. And then you have Avengers 6. That could work. As of this morning, you know, we talked about some stuff that Charles Murphy said earlier. Charles literally said this morning he's not sure whether Doc Strange 3 could come out before or after Secret Wars. And that means that we truly don't know. Daniel doesn't think so, but Daniel has not reported what he has heard. He is simply saying, I can't believe that Doc Strange 3 would actually be ready in time to come out before Secret Wars. A lot of us believe that. I tend to believe that. Because right now, Doc Strange 3 is literally slated to film next year. You see what I'm saying? But that could, if they got it done fast enough, there's a February date before Secret Wars. They could fit Doc Strange 3, time runs out or some shit, into February before Secret Wars. That would be crazy. So I still think that this movie could happen. There's a lot of reasons to believe that this movie could still happen. And I think if it does happen, it perfectly explains everything that's going on. And the calculus for Marvel is probably like, we can't put that Stephen Strange story into Doomsday. We understand it's important, but we can't put it into Doomsday because we need strict emotional connection between these characters like Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and RDJ's Doctor Doom. We need the evil versions of the Avengers versus the new Avengers. And if we throw Stephen Strange into that mix and have him, explaining away everything with Doctor Doom, it's just going to be too much. I totally get that. So I think I am basically 50-50 on whether or not Doc Strange 3 will come out before Secret Wars. I'm 50-50. Flip a coin. And I also think we will find out soon. Marvel is currently making these decisions. Marvel's currently, they seem to be changing and reworking and spinning just multiple plates right now. So maybe they don't even know. Maybe they'll make a decision soon, or maybe they already know, but very few people have the info. We'll just have to follow it as best we can, and when the time's right and we can draw better conclusions, we will draw those conclusions. So, I think Doc Strange 3, totally possible before Secret Wars. And I think it would make everything make sense. What do you think about that? Let me know. What do you think, chat? Vince Barter, subscribe with Prime. Thank you for subscribing for 5 months. A 3-month streak. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. C-Dub says Oscar noms are out. Dune 2 up for Best Picture. Let's fucking go. Oh, really? That's cool. That's cool. I'm not like the biggest Oscars person. I don't really care that much, but also it's undeniably a status symbol. And whenever a franchise or a movie, gets Oscars, it's definitely like, it's important. It's a capital thing. Like when you talk about Return of the King, and I think it won 11 Oscars. Like, that's bananas, right? Anytime a comic book movie wins an Oscar, it's a big deal. Except that Suicide Squad won one, and that doesn't make any fucking sense. But yeah, it's a big deal. That's cool. That's cool. Any other stuff with regards to the Oscars? Let me know. Like, what else is going on with the Oscars, man? Kalen J says we need a Blade/Ghost Rider project in between Secret Wars. Something to keep the fans engaged instead of being fatigued by the multiverse story. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. There were rumors that Blade was going to go down. I could absolutely see that. I don't know, though. I could see the argument for and against that. Because on the one level, if you just try to release a project as though nothing else is going on, it kind of takes the weight of the entire multiverse ending away, right? So this is something that I think they've done with Jonathan Hickman comic book events that have been very, very successful. So when Secret Wars came out, all the books stopped except Secret Wars and Battle World books. Technically, they started up again before the end of it because the end got delayed, but that was the plan. Same thing with his X-Men stuff. When he came back to do X-Men, came back to Marvel to do X-Men, and he did House of X, Powers of X, they canceled every single X-Men book. The only books that were out were those books. So sometimes, shutting everything off just gives total and complete focus to the thing that you're doing. It can add emphasis to it. And if your argument is people are fatigued of the multiverse, then you're not really going to help those people by giving them one project that isn't multiverse related in the middle of the biggest fucking multiverse story ever told in the history of the world. So while I understand your point, I think it could work for some people. I also see the opposite argument, and I don't know. I don't know if that's the move, man. Chris says, what do we think the final budget of Captain America 4 is, and how much does it need to make to break even? Let me answer your question this way. They are not going to break even. That's my professional opinion. My professional opinion is that should be the last thing on their mind. And I think maybe after the 27th round of reshoots, that was something they discussed. Like, there was probably a moment when they were like, do we keep dumping money into this? Or do we just let it go out like it currently is? Right? And I think the calculus for Marvel was not, hey, do we need this movie to make money? Because they literally don't. Like, that's what's interesting about Marvel is the pedigree, the brand, the money it has created already, and what's more important is the money it can make in the future. That all outweighs whether or not a movie, an individual Marvel movie, makes money. Right? So consider this. This is how you know that's true. They're the highest grossing box office franchise of all time. And yet they also have the biggest bomb in the history of Hollywood. So wrap your head around that. The Marvels is the biggest bomb in the history of Hollywood. That was created by the most profitable and highest grossing studio franchise ever. Does that make sense? Like, it kind of doesn't make sense. Like, when you just say it like that, you're like, what? But that's what it is. And the point I'm trying to make is that it's more important that the Marvel brand stays strong. So, like, here's the thing. Let's say best case scenario. Like, let me say it like this. Best case scenario. This movie makes $100 million in profit. Okay? If that's the best case scenario, is it worth making that $100 million in profit if it hurts the future profits of all the other movies? Meaning, what if you spend that $100 million, that would be the profit, and you make the movie better, so much so that the fan base appreciates it, it doesn't do any real damage to the Marvel brand, and the next movie and the next movie and the next movie and the next movie can all pop off. That is somewhat of what the calculus was, I believe, for Captain America Brave New World. And I understand it. Like, it makes sense to me. You can't put a stinker Captain America movie out for your first Black Captain America movie and also for the fourth movie in a really big franchise. Like, you just can't do that. That's not a good look. So, yeah, I mean, I'm less interested in if the movie makes profit. But I will tell you this. I don't think it's going to make a profit, dude. What's the actual cost of this movie? I have no idea, but it's way too much. I mean, let's just be real. It's way too much. But, they're also just kind of dealing with the cards they were dealt. So that's my answer. Casuals will like it. It's possible. I'm really interested to see how the movie does. Like, I could see it being pretty slick, pretty fun, pretty cool. I could also see it being kind of bland and it's a drag and then there's barely any Red Hulk and people get mad about that. I could see it being fun and exploring some really interesting MCU ideas. And if you're a big Marvel fan, you're getting some answers and, even getting potentially more questions about things that are going on in the Marvel universe. Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to find out in a couple of weeks. We're going to find out in a couple of weeks, I'll tell you that. Okay, one last topic. One last topic, and then we'll do a little more Q&A, and then we're going to get on out of here, okay? I have seen some early speculation from some of the scoopers and the insiders and even some of the people I talk to behind the scenes. And this indication is that the Fantastic Four movie will now be the main story setup for Doomsday and for the character of RDJ Doctor Doom. So, this is obviously in the wake of the Doctor Strange news, and a lot of us believed that Doctor Strange was going to be the story connection, the setup, the exposition machine. You know, scenes will be super important. They're going to shatter universes together, and then boom, it sets up Doomsday. That is now kind of off the table. And so instead, we look to the Fantastic Four. And we look to Reed Richards, potentially look to Franklin Richards. And that seems to now be the setup for Doom. But here's the issue. Dr. Doom's not really in that movie. I mean, not from what we've heard. And of course, we have to keep in mind, things are changing, right? Like, things are changing. That's like the whole theme for today, right? The times they are changing over at Marvel Studios. But the conventional wisdom is that Dr. Doom's not really in that movie. Galactus is the main villain. Silver Surfer is kind of like a sub-villain. It's all about Franklin, death of the universe, maybe potentially deep dark secrets, death of that universe, and then they travel to 616. That's the conventional wisdom. Dr. Doom is either at the very end of the movie, or he's in a post-credit scene, or they changed the shit out of this movie, and he actually has a lot to do with it. So the question becomes, how can Doctor Doom and Doomsday be set up directly via the Fantastic Four movie? How can that be so interesting and important that it will make Doomsday make sense? Give us all the things we need for Doctor Doom, that he's sympathetic, that, we'll understand his motivation even better than Thanos, all these things that people have said. Well, one way to make this make sense, and I'm not even going to say that, like, I'm leaning in this direction. I was already leaning in this direction, but it does make sense. I believe the core idea of RDJ Doctor Doom is going to be rooted in the idea that the MCU, the Infinity Saga, what we saw for those 10 glorious years and then those subsequent kind of mid as fuck 5 years, that whole story, those characters, that universe was a lie. It's not real. Now, technically, we already know that's the case because He Who Remains scripted the entire thing. He used the TVA to keep the sacred timeline moving in a certain way. That implies that the universe before that multiversal war, before He Who Remains reset the 616 timeline, that universe was the more real universe. It was the more pure universe. My current theory on RDJ's Doctor Doom is that RDJ's Tony Stark is actually a Von Doom variant. And that perhaps He Who Remains, when recreating the universe, saw Victor Von Doom as an incredible threat and a way to take Doctor Doom out of the equation. He turned him into Iron Man. And one of the reasons this would make Von Doom less powerful is it keeps him away from magic. Right? So this whole idea of, Tony is really like a technologist, and we see throughout the Infinity Saga, he doesn't like magic, he doesn't understand it, and he thinks magic is just science that we don't fully understand, right? But Von Doom is like the man when it comes to magic. Like, he's that guy. So perhaps Kang sees the reality of Von Doom being Von Doom as a threat to the stability of the multiverse and a threat to him as its ruler. Maybe this had something to do with the first Secret Wars and what Doctor Doom did in the Secret Wars. Okay. Now, there's another rumor out there that could connect to this and could set up the whole thing. If this is true, it makes this whole situation make more sense. The rumor is that Reed Richards is not from the universe that the Fantastic Four movie takes place in. So, how could that be? What universe is he from? I've also heard some people suggest that the universe Reed Richards is actually from is 616. What? How could that be? There's also rumors that say that Dr. Doom and Reed Richards are from the same universe. What? How could that be? Well, here's how it all could make sense. If Reed Richards and Dr. Doom are from the original version of the 616 timeline, if they fought in the multiversal war against Kang, and they separated and went out to different universes, okay? And then RDJ's Dr. Doom somehow, some way figures this out. He figures this out. And then he looks into 616, right? Where he has discovered he is actually from. And when he goes in to look at 616, he sees himself being raised as Iron Man. And he realizes that Kang manipulated the timeline to prevent him from actually becoming Victor Von Doom. Now, how could that work within the plot of the Fantastic Four movie? Well, it's pretty simple. It would be that Reed Richards made a deal. Maybe Reed Richards helps Kang. And maybe Reed Richards, as a part of that deal, manipulated Victor, took him out of the timeline, and either hid his memories or convinced him that he was just from that native universe. I know we're getting real sweaty. I know this is really crazy. I've talked about it before. You know, you probably know where some of my thoughts are with this. But if that's what they're cooking, it could connect to these new comments that we've heard from the Russos, right? So the Russos, they had an idea. They couldn't get it to work. All of a sudden, McFeely comes up with an idea. Boom, it's brilliant. It activates everybody. This idea is potentially so crazy that Marvel Studios initially rejects it. Could that idea be exactly what I'm talking about? A massive retcon to the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe canon, and the sympathetic reason that Dr. Doom wants to recreate the 616. He comes from a more pure version. The current version is false. The universe is collapsing. Well, guess what? I'll save the multiverse. I'll recreate 616 the way it really should be. And the reason I'm justified in doing this is because my life was taken from me. This variant is not the way I should be, etc., etc. Well, if that happens, then, like, you don't need Doc Strange for any of that shit, right? So perhaps that, or something similar, or like a version of that, or something weird with him and Reed and the multiverse, maybe that is going to be established in the Fantastic Four film. And then that then leads into Doomsday. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, look, that's obviously a pretty crazy theory. I don't know how confident I am in it, but it does technically make sense. And if that's the way they're going with this, then I totally understand. They're like, no, we don't need Stephen Strange at all. Like, sure, you have incursions, you have this going on, you have that going on. No, the whole crux of our story now is that the MCU you saw wasn't real. Doom is justified in doing what he did because none of this shit was real. It was created. It was manipulated. It was fake. It was false. interesting possibility. So I just wanted to touch on that because that would be my favorite. If this is the way they're going, and I do think this is the way they're going, but there's not enough evidence to prove it yet. If that's the way they're going, I'm hyped, man. I think it would be pretty cool. But I also think a lot of you guys would be like, what the actual fuck? So we'll see. We'll see. I would love to know your thoughts on that. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Too crazy? Just right? What do you think, man? What do you think, man? So Iron Man and saving everyone in Endgame has no meaning. So I reject that idea so much because what you're missing is it actually has more meaning. It actually means more because this is nurture versus nature. This is a Victor Von Doom variant who has every bit of nature within him to make him go dark, to make him be selfish, to make him want to dominate. And frankly, we saw that throughout the MCU's history with Tony Stark. He wanted to dominate. He wanted to control things. He crossed the line because he could. This would be the story of what actually makes a hero. It makes Tony's sacrifice even more meaningful because he was actually Doom. It also makes the identity of Tony Stark more than your genes. It makes it connected to your choices. It puts under the microscope what is destiny? What is free will? What is identity? What is sacrifice? It's actually the opposite of what you're saying. It elevates the story. It elevates the characters. Joshua says, it's a good theory, but I don't like it because RDJ has basically defined the character of Tony Stark, and this would ruin that. Yeah, I hear you, and I'll just say, see everything I just said for the last, minute or two. I think it also, in some interesting ways, opens up the door for a new Tony Stark, potentially, down the road. But I think this is more interesting, because at the end of the day, all the questions you're asking, all the stuff that you're bringing up, don't you think this will be stuff that the heroes themselves would think about? If they do bring back Tony Stark, RDJ's Tony Stark, which I think they will, and then he realizes that he's a Victor Von Doom variant, don't you think that's going to be kind of a mindfuck for him? Won't he ask himself the same questions? Am I really Tony Stark? What does Tony Stark mean? I am Iron Man. Was that true? Why was it true? Did he decide to be Iron Man? You see what I mean? It's kind of interesting. C Black says THR is reporting Cap 4's budget was $180 million. Well, if that's true, good on them. Leon says 22 months, baby, let's go. I can see RDJ coming full circle again with Doom and saying, I'm Tony Stark, and then a big fight ensues. Exactly. And look, here's the thing. We don't know that it's true. I have a bias because I want it to be true. But after hearing everything I just said, can't you see how this might have been the idea that activated the whole team? They couldn't figure out a story. They had ideas. If you listen to the last interview they gave, they've been thinking about Secret Wars for years. They love Secret Wars from the comics, and they had a ton of good ideas, but they couldn't figure out a story to make those ideas feel justified. Don't you see how this could be the idea that activated it all? Verse says with a 10 spot, appreciate you, brother. That's very generous. Says, yo, Josh, speculation about Reed, Doom, and the original 616 feels like Century's intro. A hero erased from memory. Could Thunderbolt's big twist be tied into the Doom Secret Wars multiverse story? It's possible. I like where your head's at. I don't know exactly how, but sure, I could see that. I could see that. What about the 1 in 14 million chance that they beat Thanos just being predetermined by Kang? Yeah, but doesn't that make sense? I don't know. I think that makes sense to me. I think it makes sense to me. Will Doom use Wanda to do all of this? Where does she fit in? Because she's the one destined to destroy everything. It seems like Wanda is going to have a lot to do with this. For now, all we know is that that's probably true, and we can speculate about how. But I mean, I have my own thoughts and theories on this. I think Wanda, so you know what's interesting about Wanda, right? Wanda and Doom have like a lot of stuff in the comics. You know, they have the Children's Crusade situation. There's also other runs where they have, like one of them has the Darkhold, the other has the Darkhold. I can't remember. They're both incredibly powerful magic users. They both have read and held the Darkhold. They've both been to hell before. They both have obtained godlike power. Wanda during House of M, Dr. Doom multiple times. They have a lot in common, actually. You know, they're both Eastern European. So, yeah, I don't know. There's many different ways they could get there. I tend to believe that I think they're doing Children's Crusade stuff. I think Doom will find Wanda, and he will convince Wanda to join him. That's what I think. Happy Hogan is a simp says, where would be the Tony character if Doom been living his life? That's not what is going to happen, in my opinion. Yeah, 100%. Agatha did introduce that Wanda is really important. Yeah, I totally agree. It is not that he was knowingly Dr. Doom the whole time. It is that he believed himself to be the biological son of Howard Stark, and yet he was the biological son of Cynthia Von Doom and whoever Doom's dad was. That's the twist. It's not that he was actually Doom knowingly and he was like evil the entire time. That would be terrible. That would actually retcon stuff and like be very damaging. No, it's just that he's not actually Tony Stark. And again, there's comic book precedents for this. It was recent. I want to say it was like within the last 10 years, there was a comic book story told that basically proves that Tony Stark was adopted. So there's even comic book precedents for this. This version of it would just be he was adopted and he would have been Dr. Doom. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Rossi! Even though you're just popping in to say you hate it, I'm glad to see you. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're feeling good. I've been to hell. Okay. How was the weather? Maybe Doom will use Wanda to fight Loki. Reality versus time. Ooh, that could be cool. The new Squirrel Girl alt rework is driving me nuts. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I didn't realize that Doom had ever been involved with the Darkhold. You know what's funny? Around the time of the Darkhold being introduced in the MCU via WandaVision, Marvel's Comics literally did a story called The Darkhold. And who's it about? Wanda and Dr. Doom. Let me see if I can find this. This will blow your mind. Where's the story? Where's the... So, here it is. This was in 2021. I wish I could like read part of it here. Because I do have Marvel Unlimited. Am I not logged in? Can't read it right now, but let me see if I can find it on this other website. What's it called? Darkhold Alpha. Darkhold. Here, let me show you some things. This will be cool. Check this out. You do not know Doom. And then Scarlet Witch says, Victor. And he says, Maximum. And she's like, you expect me to bow? You wouldn't dig up the book without knowing its danger. So what are you planning? Danger is power, and there can be only one steward to such power. We masters all that lies before us, the Latvian motto. My duty as a leader is to control this book. You haven't felt Chthon's touch, Victor. He possessed me repeatedly. By unearthing the book, you've given him a chance at escaping the other realm. In taking the book, I take the key to his freedom. Chthon is a rival. Once I have now cowed, as I will you, if you do not step aside. I granted you a moment's audience in honor of our time together. Boom, shakalaka. But now the time has passed. Our time, where you stole my power, the life force was beyond your control, and the true Darkhold is no different. Reading even the first page would drive any living creature mad. So you see, they end up working together here. Going into, I think they go into Chthon's realm, to be real, if I remember correctly. But anyway, the point is, yeah, they have experiences with the Darkhold together. Interesting, huh? Interesting. Yeah, pretty sure. Chris Listenfeld says, at the MCU's lowest point, Rivals is reminding me why I love these characters and this world. So hyped for the future of Marvel. Yeah, it's a great point, man. That's a great point. Like, Rivals is just fun. The banter between the characters is cool. The kits and the gameplay remind us why we love these characters. Rivals is doing some serious brand helping to Marvel right now, and I hope they get the credit for it, because it's wild right now, dude. That's a good point. Joshua says, after hearing what you've said, I like it better. Also, to be fair, I typed out that last chat before you said all those super chats are a pain to type. It's all good, brother. It's all good, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Banjo Man. And then Joshua follows up and says, so do this mean there are other variants of Tony and other variants of Doom throughout the multiverse, and sometimes they're the same person, sometimes two different people? Great question. Let me explain it the way I understand it. There are two multiverses. I know, we're getting sweaty. Buckle your butthole up. I do have 200 wins. Look at the total wins. We're at like 210 or something like that, Tim O'Brien. Now I'm going to really crash out. Couple of ways to explain this. Number one, how... Jareth, I missed your super chat, did I? The hell? Would there be... Okay, let me just get into the chats and I'll catch up on everything, okay? But let me just answer this question first. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me explain it. How does the multiverse exist? How, let me. Do you guys know how it works? You have a timeline, the sacred timeline, probably the core timeline. And then seemingly everything branches off of it to create the multiverse. The reason that he remains isolated, the sacred timeline, was so that there wouldn't be variant or branch timelines created off of that. Now, there is another multiverse, maybe what was left over from the old multiversal war. But a lot of the current multiverse after the end of Loki season 1 is created by the branching timelines of the sacred timeline. I mean, that's literally what you see at the end of Loki season 1, where you're like, damn, this shit's going wild. That's a lot of weird lines and shit. Good thing I took that edible before I watched this show. Yeah, that shit, that's the multiverse being created. All the stuff you see, that's the multiverse. So the point is, here's what I'm saying. By manipulating the sacred timeline, a lot of the branch timelines coming off of the sacred timeline would still have the Tony Stark that's actually Victor Von Doom, that thinks he's Tony Stark. They would actually be still the same way as 616. Like, does that make sense? Like, consider this. Let's say after Age of Ultron, Tony just decides to become a total villain. Maybe that is the Tony Stark from 838. Superior Universe, Superior Iron Man. There were a lot of rumors that they were going to do some Iron Man shit there, right? So that's a version of Tony that went dark. It's possible that version of Tony looks just like RDJ because he's actually a variant of the Victor Von Doom that was Tony Stark. Does that make sense? So what it means is you could have a lot of Tony Stark variants out there that are actually Victor Von Doom that look like him. You could also have variants that are actually Tony Stark. Exactly, David. You could have Tom Cruise as Tony Stark, and perhaps he comes from the multiverse before the sacred timeline manipulation, which would explain why he looks different. Okay, anyway. Let me try to catch up on these chats here. Cuz it seems like I missed a few. All right, let's see here. Mic volume up. No, your AirPod volume up. Okay, we touched on that. I think we missed the drama of young. We touched on that. We touched on that. We touched on that. Hey, Mr. JB, thanks for 5 gifted memberships. How dare I forget that, brother? Thank you so much, man. Rumors, Iron Fist. Don't get naked. Please get naked. Cap 4 releasing in China could push it to 700 plus. If they get to 700 plus, it's a W. It might not be profitable. That's a W. And I think it could, man. I hope the movie's dope. If the movie's really dope, that'd be great. Sent you a DM about Cumberbatch being in Avengers 5, and this is why it's hard to believe all of this and how things are changing so much. All right, let me see, Jareth. Let me see here. MCU actor confirms Avengers 5 appearance, reveals production start. This is an article from 2024. Yeah, see, like, this is what I mean, though. Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch in 2024 said he's working on the movie next year. He's looking forward to Avengers next year, which is cooking up a storm. Yeah, so, like, look, you know what that suggests to me? And I'm so glad you brought that up, Jareth. That suggests to me that he wasn't going to be in Kang Dynasty. There was a plan to have him in Doomsday. That's where a lot of Alex's reporting actually came from. Something changed. They've shuffled it. They've cut it. They've moved it. Now he's not going to be in Doomsday. Or Benedict Cumberbatch is just lying. Can you imagine if he's literally just lying and we had this whole thing for nothing? I actually don't think so. He was so specific that it makes me think he was being honest. But I think the plan was He's not going to be in Kang Dynasty. We're doing Doctor Doom. Ooh, it'd be cool to have Steven and Doom together. That works. Maybe it's too much. All right, let's put it in Doc Strange 3. Let's put it in Secret Wars. Doomsday, no. Like, doesn't that make sense? Much love to the Nerd Vengers. Thanks for all the well wishes. If you're going to MegaCon, DM me on IG or Discord. A group of us are going. I will give you our plan. Yeah, so a bunch of Nerd Vengers are going to MegaCon. I was trying to be ready to go. The bottom line is, like, I'm drowning in work right now. And, you know, we have new baby and just daddy duty and stuff. So I cannot make it to MegaCon. I'm going to try to make it to some more cons this year, but probably not in the first couple of months of the year, just to be honest with you. So I'm not going to be there, but a lot of Nerd Vengers are going to be there, and I think you guys are going to have a great time. So hit Rossi up on the Discord if you're going, and I'll be with you guys in spirit. Joshua says, it's a good theory, and I like it because RDJ's basically defined the character of Tony Stark, and this would ruin that. Okay, yeah, but that's probably, you know, before you heard my brilliant explanation. Let's see here. Doesn't Howard tell Tony his wife is pregnant when they meet during time travel in Endgame? Great point, but let me explain something to you. The timing of that pregnancy does not make sense. Many people have brought this up way before I had this theory. If you look at Tony's reaction and you look at what we know from the life of Tony Stark, Tony's, like, if Tony was actually the one, like, from when he was actually born, it actually doesn't make sense that his wife is pregnant then. So a lot of people have actually brought this up back then, and they were like, something's going on here. Something weird is happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel ends up using that moment to explain that there was a miscarriage, and then the Starks quietly adopted a kid, and that ends up being the Tony that we know. Like, go back and watch that scene, actually. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Here's, whoa, what a nice chat here. Dar Boyd with a $20 holla. That ain't cheap. Tony was never real. He's a variant of Doom. So there are no variants of Tony. Howard lied when he said, "You are my greatest creation." I just don't like that idea. The brain swapping story would be so much better. Brother, I love you so much, and I really appreciate the $20. But if you are actually trying to tell me that a brain swapping story is better than my theory, like, I just don't know what to tell you. Number one, the public is not going to be down with that. It's not even interesting. Like, it is literally not interesting. I shouldn't say it's not interesting. It just pales in comparison to everything I just talked about. So RDJ is going to show up, and it's just Victor Von Doom brain swap with Tony Stark. Cool. Like, no way, dude. Like, that's not cool. It's not interesting. The public at large would probably eye roll that and groan at it. It doesn't recontextualize anything. It seems so Deus Ex Machina. Like, I will be disappointed if that's what it is. And I also cannot fucking imagine that that's the idea that activated everybody, like the Russos and Steve McFeely. Like, Steve McFeely's over there like, yeah, what if they just swap bodies? And then everybody's like, fuck yeah, let's get to work. I don't think so, dude. Like, I don't know, brother. Like, again, I appreciate the $20. I hope you appreciated the minute and a half of berating your idea and trying to squash your point into oblivion. Optimus Prime Rib says, it all changed after Loki. There is now personas. People can have multiple personas, or personas can have multiple people. Brother, you're going to need to explain that further, because I do not know what you were saying. Collis says, bruh, is RDJ Doom or is RDJ Stark? He just can't be both. Is this what you mean by it questions identity verbiage? Yeah. It's like, do you know what nurture versus nature is? Maybe you don't. Maybe this can be a teaching moment, and I can explain this. This is a debate in psychology. And some of the most famous psychologists have had debates about this exact issue. What defines what a person is? Is it their nature or is it their nurture? Meaning, is it their genes, parents, biology, or is it the environment they grow up in? Right? So, like, even with, you think it's really probably a combination of both is like the most accurate answer. But there used to be people that thought that it didn't matter what environment you were in. If you were just maybe got unlucky in the genetic lottery, you were just, maybe a mutation, or maybe both your parents were psychos, that you were destined to be a psycho. It didn't matter what your environment was. It didn't matter how nice your nanny was. It didn't matter how nice people treated you in school. It didn't matter who your role models were. None of that mattered. You were born to psycho parents. You're going to be a psycho. Okay, and then on the opposite side of that, it was like, okay, so maybe both your parents are psychos, but you get adopted by a loving family. And that loving family does an incredible job of raising you. And therefore, all of your psycho tendencies from your biological parents are outweighed by the nurture of your environment. What makes a person? Is it their genome? Is it their environment? Is it a combination of both? That's the question. And so the reason I like this is because it puts that question at the forefront of the most popular hero, of the most popular franchise, of the most thing ever. Does that make sense? C Black says, with a $180 million budget, it can easily make a profit. I really don't believe that it's a $180 million budget, but your point is correct. If that is what it is, yes, it can easily make a profit. Crazy Eights says, yeah, and Andrew Garfield doesn't lie either. See, exactly. That's my point exactly. I'm just going to start saying that shit. Like, when you guys say something and I don't fully understand it, I'm just going to be like, yeah, dude, that's my point exactly. And just leave it at that. Don't believe in that. See? My point exactly. But RIP your sweatshirt. It's now a cheese shirt. What? See? My point exactly. JRE007 says, fresh face here. Love your YouTube. Had to make the switch. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, dude, we're on the same page. Exactly. Hey, Darboyd. My point exactly. We're on the same page, baby. We already do that for you, Josh? I don't know what that means. Have I read the Ultimates? No, but that's why I'm taking tomorrow off. By the way, I'll say this. I love you guys. I have a blast. I have a dream job. This is awesome. I love nerding out, but I'm tired, boss. Okay? I'm tired, boss. So I'm taking tomorrow off streaming because I have to just try to get my shit together. I've got a ton of video ideas. There are changes I want to make to these streams. I want to make the streams better. I want to clean up the background. I want to get this fucking thing put into a frame. I want to catch up on all my comics. I need more time. So I won't be streaming tomorrow morning. I hope you understand. Plenty of clips from today, and some other stuff will come out over the weekend on the main channel, and we'll be back at it on Monday. But yeah. I want to catch up on my comics, man. I really do. I want to catch up on the Ultimates stuff. I want to read Ultimate Wolverine. I want to read the Absolute books. I gotta get my shit together, man. The poster will not be framed after tomorrow. You see, my point exactly. We're on the same page, baby. Josh, I want you to take a real-ass vacation this year. Best I can do is 2 days away playing Warhammer with my homies and then coming back and working real hard. That's the best I can do. Josh, accept my Discord friend request. I will. Hey, at least there wasn't Warhammer for an hour. That's true. I gave you that at least. Okay? Can't be Den of Nerds without nerding. True. Josh, I think Kathleen Kennedy is on her last leg. What do you think? I mean, let's hope so. And, look, I love humanity, and I have people that have, any kind of ailment or physical disability. They have a special place in my heart, a lot of empathy and sympathy for them. But if I saw Kathleen Kennedy on crutches with one leg, I would knock that shit out from under her. Evans has multiple personas, such as Cap, Storm. Oh, okay, fair. I see what you're saying. Didn't that movie come out before Loki, though? Diamond being moved to? No, we'll do the Diamond tomorrow night. I just need to be able to focus on work tomorrow morning and afternoon, and then I'll chill, I'll go to the gym, and then we'll do the Diamond Lounge tomorrow night. 7:30 tomorrow night on Discord. We're going to talk about all the things we'd never talk about. We're going to talk politics. We're going to talk aliens. We're going to talk crypto. Is crypto back? Meme coins and NFTs are back? What the hell? Did you see my comment about Cap 4? I think I did. Let me see. Was it in a super chat or just in the chat? Because I'm like going through the super chats right now. I don't see it, bruh. Just throw it back into the chat. Throw it back. Hey, Josh, what do you think about Ryan Gosling Star Wars rumors? So we did a segment about this yesterday, Mike. I tried to be chill about it. I talked about why I think it was weird. Ultimately, it's not doing much for me. I mean, I guess the best way I could say it, if I was trying to be super nice, is this better than the trades saying Daisy Ridley's back and Charmin Obed-Chinoy's making a movie? For sure. Levy and Goss? Hell yeah. Much better than Daisy Ridley and Charmin. You know what I mean? But does it actually get me excited? No. No. Yeah. Kendall and I can hold it down for you so you can go on vacay. Hey, maybe someday that could happen. But then you know what would happen is I would be at my vacation watching all the streams just to make sure you guys didn't like get me canceled or anything, you know? So I don't know if that would actually be a good break, so to speak. Henny Boo Boo says, your comment on KK had me rolling. Can I send you some art? I'm a painter, tattoo artist, and designer. Want to share with you, King of Nerds. Oh, hell yeah, man. I would appreciate it. You can send me some stuff via email. If it's actual physical stuff, you can send it to the P.O. box. And if it's dope enough, maybe I'll put it on the wall. Like, we've got those dope-ass comics from Austin, from Ace, and I want to put those on the wall. I mean, those are dope, man. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, Henny, hit me up. Hit me up and just shoot me an email, man. I'm going to be going over a lot of Unity stuff tomorrow and over the weekend. Hopefully I'll have an update for you guys early next week. I'm all about that PR. So I've told you guys this before, but I don't know if you remember. So back in the day, right, I used to have other people that would do content on the channel. I don't know how many of you remember Bosch T. And I don't know how many of you remember Lavis, okay? But let me just tell you a little story. I, to this fucking day, have a copyright strike on this live streaming channel that seemingly will never go away. And it was because those two beautiful, wonderful people thought they could just straight up watch Blade on the stream. What the fuck? Like, come on, man. So let's just say I don't let too many other people onto this channel anymore. By the way, God bless them. Hope they're both doing well, but you're not on my shit anymore. You know, that's what it is. David, 10 members. Damn, bro, that ain't cheap. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Very kind. Thank you, man. We ain't got to worry about cancellation no mo. I mean, I don't know if I go that far. I feel like there's still some, you know, I feel like there's still some cancelable offenses. But maybe we could pump and dump a meme coin. Fuck it. I don't know. I mean, if the president's doing it, why can't I do it? Vagabond of Light with a $5 holler, 20th super chat. Says, ever since I saw the Atom Project, I wanted Levy to do Star Wars very bad. That's actually true. That's a great point. Those non-lightsabers he used were dope. Yeah, dude, like, I think that's great. Like, frankly, I'm more excited about Levy than I am Goss. Like, no offense to Goss. He's cool. I just can't see it. I just can't see it. Ryan Gosling starring in a movie. And what's this movie going to be exactly? Like him being berated by Rey the entire time, and then he's like kind of like the lol cow of the movie? Like, does that sound good to you? Let me pitch this to you. Older Daisy Ridley chastising Ryan Gosling Jedi for 2 hours straight. Does that sound cool? Does that sound good? Yo, Crest, I remember you from back in the day, brother. Do you just like constantly lurk, or do I just not see you? Because you said definitely remember then, had some fun times back then. We did have fun times back then. I will admit, I had fun times back then too. You know? It's been a wild journey for me and the channel, you know? Yo, Vandolph, I saw him say that shit too, but I was going to let it slide, but you know what I mean? That's hey. First became a Nerd Venger on my 40th B-Day. Thankful for you, bro, in this whole nerdy community. Heading to Sri Lanka, whoa, tomorrow to see my 105-year-old Gramps. Yo, W Gramps, man. 105. Wow. 105, huh? Damn, you got some good genes, bro. You got some good genes, brother. We're going to have to do some 40K shit, figure out what's going on there so we can all get a little bit of that, you know? C. Fisher with a 10 spot. Appreciate you, brother. Says, Josh, are you a Zelda fan? Do you have any thoughts / insight on the live action movie coming up? I am a Zelda fan. My thoughts on the film are like, I don't know why we're excited that Avi Arad is involved. I'm kind of like that's a red flag for me. But apparently they've been working on it for a while. Miyamoto is really impressed with Avi. So, I don't know, man. I'm going to try to have some faith. I'm going to try to have some faith. I'm 40K curious now. Smack my head. Oh, hell yeah. That's how we get them, baby. That's how we get them. I'm really excited about Warhammer's future. I think it's going to be really cool. All right, guys. I got to get on out of here. I appreciate it. Big video today coming out about Doc Strange stuff. It kind of goes over some of the stuff I talked about, but more clarity, you know, higher production. I crash out a little bit in that video, too, so go check that out. Videos coming out over the weekend. No stream tomorrow morning, but I will do the Diamond Lounge 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night. And then I'll see you guys again on Monday, okay? So take care. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. Oh man, that was a good one. You know, it was fun to discuss big news, discuss a lot of different ideas, speculate, and also, like, you know, hold the L. You know, I kind of crashed out yesterday, and honestly, it's a teaching moment. Something to kind of keep me humble, keep me aware that you don't really know for sure, and you got to be open to new possibilities. I think it's fine to formulate a model, and I think we formulate pretty successful models with the information that we have. But you just gotta, like, you can't fall in love with any one particular idea or version of a thing that you think is going on, right? So, you know, I didn't mention this during, like, the actual stream or whatever, but, like, really love Alex. But at one time, Alex was reporting that Jean Grey and the Scarlet Witch were gonna have a fight in Deadpool and Wolverine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's tough because sometimes we hear this stuff and we're like, dude, that's dope. Oh man, that makes sense because of this, that, second, and the third. Like, even my own theory about Doom, it makes sense to me. I don't know that it's real. I don't know that they're interested in doing that. To me, it makes sense, and I, you know, put forth my argument as to why. But we don't know. You know, we just try to do the best we can and speculate. And at the end of the day, it's fun to speculate. It's fun to have theories. It's fun to get excited about rumors. And then hopefully it's also really fun to watch the actual stuff and then discuss that and then formulate theories for the next thing. That's kind of the pattern. And I think it's cool. So, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Much love. I do apologize about no stream tomorrow, but man, dude, Daddy's got a lot going on. Like, even more than you guys know. So, I appreciate your patience. Hopefully next week's a little bit more normal. Remember, to open up your third eye and wash out your stinky, stinky butthole. Oh, yeah, stinky butthole.